Hello, my name is Kassidy Clark, and I'm going to be presenting my lesson plan that I did for our community project assignment. So the teacher I observed, and that picture's not clearing out very well at the moment, was Miss Ray. And so what Miss Ray was facing was challenges in developing literacy skills among her kindergarten students. Because those students are entering with different reading levels. Some of them already know how to read, and some of them do not have any experience, and that really is a dependency on the parents. So some students are already recognizing letter and sounds, while others are still learning like the alphabet and the basic phonics skills that she can teach, but it is very difficult for her to get such a wide span of students. Another challenge is keeping the young students engaged during literacy instruction. Kindergarten students have short attention spans and many struggle to stay focused during traditional paper and pencil phonics activities. This is particularly because they're not used to a school setting yet, and so that was the main problems we were dealing with today. So she teaches kindergarten, which is a range of 5 to 6 in the class. So in the lesson, the students will be exposed to agriculture-related words while developing their literacy skills. I tried to add in a little bit of agriculture because I am agriculture education, but I also wanted to focus on what she focused on, which was phonics. The students will be encouraged to recognize words beginning with specific sounds using farm animals and plant-related words. And the students will be exposed to interactive technology tools for hands-on learning, enhancing their phonics awareness and encouraging active participation with different levels of learning. So the lesson aligns with the Arkansas Department of Education Kindergarten English Language Arts Standards, focusing on phonological awareness and letter sound recognition. It also supports the International Society for Technology and Education Standards by integrating digital tools to promote active engagement, creativity, and individualized learning, which was the main goal for my lesson today. Was it could be individualized for each student. So the first tool I used was Padlet, and this was in mind for her to use on a weekly basis. So Padlet is an interactive board that is digital. On the board, the students can post their ideas, images, and responses to questions. She can also post on there as well, like an example at least. This will be an effective way for Miss Ray to increase student engagement in literacy instruction. Additionally, it will allow every student to participate. Kindergarten students will be able to use the Padlet boards because they do have access to computers, and it will help develop their letter recognition skills. So this was my example of what I made. So Miss Ray would have made the post that says, post a farm word that starts with C. And so she posted an example, which was a cow. And so the students would be able to log into this Padlet and also post something that starts with a C. And that's making sure that they can recognize that this word starts with a C and is related to farm animals. Or it could have been things like plants, of course, like we have corn and things of that nature as well. So my second tool was QR codes, and this was in mind for her phonics stations because she does do those. QR codes is a technology tool that is simple yet powerful, and Miss Ray can utilize QR codes to develop interesting literacy centers. QR codes allow students to access videos, phonics practice sites, flashcards, and games. The students need to scan the QR code on their computers to access the desired activity. She also had access to iPads, and I believe she had 4 iPads, so you could do 4 groups. It will open the website automatically. For example, Miss Ray may generate QR codes and place them throughout the classroom, and these QR codes may include different literacy skills such as phonics, sight words, and blending. Students may access videos on phonics, the pronunciation of the word, and practice reading a word by scanning the QR code. And this was my example that I made. So on these QR codes, I had YouTube videos that were farm animals, and there was phonics practices, and there was also, I believe Station 4 was a worksheet that kind of applies everything. And essentially what was talked about is you could do like different levels. So if you kind of deem students in the same place, so you might have someone who's very new, and there will be multiple that are very new, and so they have this set of stations, while your upper class, like the upper class level, like where they're higher in their phonics awareness, they can have different stations, and it's just differentiated for every student. So my third tool was WordWall. WordWall is an online tool that enables teachers to develop interactive games that students can use. Is a great tool for teaching young children and their literacy skills, since it has the ability to convert learning into a fun game. Miss Ray can develop activities that concentrate on teaching students letter recognition, phonics, and sight words. For example, Miss Ray can use the game that involves matching letters to pictures that begin with a particular sound. So in this example that I made on WordWall, you were matching farm animals with the beginning letter, so you would match the D to duck, and just make sure that students could identify the word, know enough that goat starts with a G, in that sense, and that it's instantly graded, so it was a great feedback example. So how does this lesson pan out? Well, Miss Ray will begin the lesson by introducing agricultural words that are associated with the sound of letters. And then Miss Ray will then introduce the Padlet activity, whereby she will show the students the Padlet board that contains the title Farm Words that starts with a C. Each student in the class will be required to log into Padlet and complete the given task. After that, the students will break into phonics groups and complete those 4 stations. They will access the QR code with their classroom iPads and complete tasks given. Students will complete the WordWall activity at their own pace. This could even be homework, as the students do have access to computers outside of the classroom, allowing for their own time and differentiation. Advanced students may move more quickly through this activity, while others can repeat the questions for additional practice. To close the lesson, Ms. Ray will bring the class back together and review what they learned, and she will revisit the Padlet board and highlight strong examples. So when you are assessing this after doing all this today, Ms. Ray won't be using like traditional testing procedures. First, you'll get that immediate feedback from the WordWall, which will allow Ms. Ray to see how students are performing, because it also times them. So seeing how fast they're getting it, and if they're getting it correctly, or how many times they had to attempt it. So you're getting that instant feedback. It would also show her which students are identifying the letters and sounds correctly. This will allow her to see the students' progress in real time. Second, the participation from students on the Padlet will also allow Ms. Ray to see what the students are posting. She will be able to hear the voice notes that they're sending to evaluate the students' knowledge of the letter sounds and vocabulary words. And thirdly, the QR code literacy stations will allow the teacher to observe how they are working independently. Once the students have finished the station, they may be able to demonstrate what they have learned by reading a word aloud or identifying a sound. They will also have a worksheet on one of those, so you can use that as an assessment as well. Using all these different strategies will allow Ms. Ray to gain a better understanding of her students' literacy skills. And I just want to say thank you for listening, and I hope you have an amazing day.